All right, we'll be getting started in just a moment. Just a moment. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll be starting in about 3 minutes, and you'll need some supplies. We sent the list out earlier, but for today, the supply list was for both days. We're actually going to have 2 different workshops. One of those is going to be today at 2 o'clock. The other is going to be tomorrow at the same time, but it'll be a completely different workshop. Different magic tricks that we'll learn, different magic tricks you'll see me perform. And you may need some of the same supplies both days, but there will be some of the things on the list that you will not need today, but you'll need those tomorrow. Let me tell you what you will need today. If you're watching already, you will need a deck of cards. You will need a handful of coins, some pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, plural on those. You will need a $1 bill or a $5 bill or a $20 bill. You will need a sharpened pencil. You'll need 3 or 4 napkins, paper napkins, or paper tissues. Let's see, you'll need a rubber band, a paper clip, and if you can get some ponytail holders would be great as well. So let me see if I can get this back on. There we go. All right. So those are the things that you'll need. We'll be starting in about 1.5 minutes. I want to start right on time to honor those folks who do get here on time. If there's something today that you miss and something that you are not able to grasp, or you need to learn a little bit more about it, the good news is you'll be able to go back and look at it. This will be on the Tuscaloosa Public Library's YouTube page for the rest of the summer. And so whatever you don't pick up today, you can go back and look at and learn later in the summer. So I think I've got all the supplies that I need for a 45-minute magic workshop. And we're down to the last 30 seconds before it is time for us to start. So we will begin in just a moment. And I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn some magic tricks. We're going to, if you've ever seen me perform at the Tuscaloosa Public Library, you know that I like to have a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing that today. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be able to do. I'll do a little bit of magic, a little bit of storytelling. I'll perform some magic for you, as well as teach you how to do some magic. We're going to go over a couple of the rules of magic. And let me check with a couple of the folks that are with me on Zoom right now, Vince and Saquon. Can you guys hear me okay? Does everything seem to be coming through on YouTube okay?
Yes, everything's coming through okay.
Perfect. All right, good. I have muted YouTube so that I won't get an echo, and I did check, and it looked like everything was a go. But right now, it looks like it is time for us to begin. Hello and welcome to Tuscaloosa Public Library's summer reading program. This is the Magic Workshop, and I am Tommy Johns. It's my honor to host this Magic Workshop. We'll be doing two of these, one today and one tomorrow. They will look the same because I'll have the same setup and I'll be wearing the same fancy vest, but they will be very different, completely different as a matter of fact. There'll be a 45-minute workshop today, a 45-minute workshop tomorrow. And those workshops will be completely different in content. So you can learn up to an hour and a half's worth of magic, which is pretty exciting. It's enough to put a whole show together if you want to. And you'll learn how to do some amazing things. You'll learn how to read minds. You'll learn how to predict the future. You'll learn how to defy gravity. You're going to learn how to warp the forces of nature. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time together. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, what I do, and why I do it. My name again, is Tommy Johns. I'm a magician, a puppeteer, a pretty funny guy, but mostly I'm a reader. I love to read. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love to read in the mornings. I love to read in the afternoons. I love to read in the evenings, and all night long. Guess what I love to do? I love to sleep. You got to get a good night's sleep, then you can read the next day. Very important to do that. Otherwise, you'll fall asleep in the middle of your book the next day, and then you'll have to explain to the librarian why there's drool on page 137 of Harry Potter. You do not want to have that conversation with a librarian. Trust me on this. So I'm also a storyteller. And one of the things that I love to do is to tell stories, not only to read stories, but to tell stories. And everything that I do encourages reading. I do shows for schools and libraries all over Georgia, Alabama, Northern Florida. And I do those shows to encourage reading, whether it's a science show, a math show for middle schoolers, a show about genres. Every one of those shows is designed to encourage kids to read. And I want to encourage you this summer to read as well. Read books from the library, read things online, particularly for if you've attending this magic workshop, you're going to want to read some magic books. And I happen to know there's some very good magic books at the Tuscaloosa Public Library. So when you get a chance, go there, check those out, and learn what you can. That's how I got started doing magic. Right before all this stuff happened, where we all had to stay home, I did a magic show at a corporate event, a company event. It's kind of rare for me, but they asked me to come around and do strolling magic, close-up magic, where I would come to little groups of people standing around eating snacks and introduce myself and do a little bit of magic for them, get some applause, and move on to the next group. Well, I got there early because I always like to get where I'm going early. I got there early and I opened up my bag. And I looked inside and realized that I did not have a deck of cards, which is embarrassing as all get out because everybody knows magicians love card tricks. Well, showing up to a magic show with no cards is like being a carpenter and showing up without a hammer. Fortunately, because I got there early, I was able to get back in my car and drive a block over to a little drugstore that I had seen, and I bought the last deck of cards that they had. Bicycle cards are America's favorite cards, some of the world's finest playing cards. And I bought the last deck of cards that they had, walked into the event, made a big deal of it at the first table, or first group of people. I opened up the wrapper. I said, I brought a brand new deck of cards for this occasion. And then I pulled the cards out and I discovered that the cards were blank, front and back, all the way through, completely, absolutely blank. I couldn't believe it. I apologized to those people. I went and got my cell phone. I called the U.S. Playing Card Company in Cincinnati, Ohio, the makers of the world's finest playing cards. And I said, hey, I just bought a deck of your cards and they're completely blank, front to back, top to bottom, all the way through. And the man said, sir, you found the magic deck. I said, the magic deck, come on. I know about magic. It's all about secrets and tricks and sleight of hand. There's no magic to this deck. He said, sir, that's where you're wrong. He said, take the deck, name a card. You'll find that card in the deck. I said, are you serious? He said, sure, do it. I said, what if I think of the 10 of spades? He said, sure, think of the 10 of spades and you'll have the 10 of spades. I said, that's amazing. The rest of the cards are still blank. He said, think of another card. I said, what if I think of the 4 of spades? He said, sure, think of the 4 of spades. You got a 4 of spades. I said, that's awesome. How long does it take to print the whole deck? He said, well, it'll take you a while to print all 52 cards, but if you can get some people to help you, let's see, if your birthday is January, February, March, I want you to think of hearts. If your birthday is April, May, or June, I want you to think of clubs. If your birthday is July, August, September, I want you to think of spades. And if your birthday is October, November, December, I want you to think of diamonds. Hearts, clubs, spades, diamonds, let's all think together. He said, if you get a lot of people to help you, you'll end up with a full deck of cards, completely printed, all the way through, front to back, top to bottom, just like that. I said, that's awesome. I said, how long does that last? He said, unfortunately, it doesn't last long because with a group like that, somebody's going to forget to think. And when they forget, you're going to end up right back where you started with a full deck of cards that are completely blank, front to back, top to bottom, all the way through. Well, I was sad that day because I couldn't do any card tricks. Would have been nice if I'd been able to, but I made it through the evening just fine. The good news is I do have a regular deck of cards, and we are going to do some card tricks right now. So if you've got your deck of cards, let me tell you a little bit about cards. There are 52 cards in a deck. This is weird. 52 cards in a deck, 52 weeks in a year. There are 4 seasons in a year. There are 4 suits in a deck: hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. We've already talked about that. This is really interesting. If you take the cards and you look at the pips on the cards, this one is the 7 of hearts. You've got 7 hearts right here in the middle, plus the ones in the corners. That makes 9. Take the next card, 3 of hearts. 9 plus 3 is 12, 13, 14. Add all the pips on all the cards going through the entire deck, start to finish. You'll end up with 364. Add 1 for the joker, 365, same as the number of days in a year. And you know what that means? It means I got way too much time on my hands, is what that means. So here's what we're going to do. Everybody knows that there are jacks, queens, and kings in a deck of cards, but not everybody knows that there are ninjas in a deck of cards. It's true. There are ninjas in a deck of cards. They're the black 7 and black 8. So let's see if I can find those, find the ninjas. It shouldn't be this easy if they're really ninjas. But what we've got is we've got a deck of cards, and we've got a black 7 and a black 8. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the black 7 and black 8 in the middle of the deck. Not right together, but somewhere in the middle of the deck. We'll put that one right there, that one right there. You can see that there are few cards between them. I'm going to push them right all the way into the deck, just like this. And here's where their ninja skill comes in handy. 7 and 8 in the middle of the deck. Ready? 1, 2, yeah! Just like that, the 7 and 8 have jumped out, and they're in my hands. Black 7 and a black 8. This is called the ninja card trick, and the way this one works is really, really cool. You're going to find that your deck has 2 black 7s and 2 black 8s. A black 7 of clubs, a black 7 of spades, and an 8 of clubs and an 8 of spades. What you want to do is you want to go through your deck. If you've got a deck of cards handy, take those cards and spread them out. You can either spread them out on the tabletop like this to find your cards, or you can spread them out in your hands. But I want you to find the black 7s and the black 8s. I'll do that while you're doing that. There's 1. There's 2, and the others were together right here. All right, now the audience is only going to see 2 of these at a time. You're going to use all 4 of them to do this trick. I'm going to give you just another moment to find those, but I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. What you're going to do is you're going to set the deck up ahead of time. Now, this is a deck of cards or a trick that you're going to need to do first. When you perform this trick, I'm sorry, you're going to need to do this trick first because you've got it set up. The other way to do that is to just go through the cards and see if you can just move some cards around. And so you move some cards like you need to, and then you can do that. Sometimes you can do that right in front of people and they don't even realize what you're doing. But let's assume that you do this ahead of time. Most of you should by now have a black 7 and a black 8. Now you want to use the 7 and 8 of different suits. This one is spades and clubs. This pair is also spades and clubs, but obviously different. 7 of clubs, 7 of spades, 8 of clubs, 8 of spades. Okay. Take either one of those and put one of those cards on top. In this case, I'm putting the 8 of spades on top and the 7 of clubs on the bottom. All right. Now that leaves me with a 7 and an 8. Just put those into the deck somewhere because you're going to find those right in front of people. And this is part of what makes this trick work. Okay, so push them all the way in there. And so now you've got a deck of cards that has, in my case, I've got the 7 of clubs on bottom. You've either got a black 7 or a black 8 on the bottom, and a black 7 or a black 8, opposite cards and opposite suits on the top. With me so far? Here's what you do. You pick up the deck of cards, and then you can tell them some interesting facts about the cards. You can tell them what I did about the 52 days, and I'm sorry, 52 weeks and 52 cards, 4 suits and 4 seasons. Or you can simply tell them that everybody knows there are kings and queens in a deck of cards, but did you know there are ninjas? The ninjas are the black 7 and the black 8. And then you start going through the card. Now, you could use any 2 cards. You could and have them with different colors, have them the same colors. Doesn't matter. I like to use 7s and 8s because they're sort of in the middle of the count, ace to king. And clubs and spades are harder to identify from a little bit of a distance than the diamonds and hearts are. So you start looking through the cards, and when you find the first card that you're looking for, in this case, I found the 8, place it face down on the table. You don't want to give people a lot of time to look at that and memorize that that's the 8 of clubs, because in just a little bit, you're going to say, I found the black 7 and black 8, but you don't want them to look and say, wait a minute, that's an 8 of spades, and you had an 8 of clubs. So put it face down and keep going until you find the black 7. So you tell them what you've done. I found a black 7 and a black 8. And then when you turn the deck over, make sure you don't flash. That's what we magicians call it. Make sure you don't flash that bottom card, because you don't want them to see that there is one of those cards on the bottom. All right, black 7 and a black 8. You put down the deck of cards, you pick up the 2 cards, and you show them. You keep them moving just a little bit. I mean, you don't go crazy. You don't do it like this, but you just kind of keep them moving. I've got a black 7 and a black 8, and then you place them face down again. All they needed to see was that they were black and a 7 and an 8. Okay. And by holding it up just for a moment, so you say, I take one card and place that card into the deck. And then you slide that into the deck, not on top, not on bottom. If you were close up, just standing right here, you'd be able to see that it's a few cards down, about 15 cards down. And then you take the other card and place it below that so that they're not right together. You push them all the way in. If I've got somebody with me, if I'm performing this for somebody live, I usually let them push those all the way in for me, just to make sure there's no way that I can use any sleight of hand to get a hold of that. Then you're going to hold the cards like this, fingers on the bottom, thumb on the top. Now what you're going to do is you're going to drop the cards and let the friction of your fingerprints hold on to the 7 and the 8. Brand new cards are extremely slippery. If you've got an old deck of cards, it'll probably work a little bit better, unless they're really old and the cards are all stuck together. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to hold on to these and then let this drop into here while you make some ninja noise. I like, yeah, that's my favorite ninja noise. But you like that. You want to practice several times before you do this, because and eventually you'll get to where you can hold your hands farther apart like that. But if you do that to start with, you're probably going to end up playing 52 pickup. So you've got the cards, thumb on top, fingers on the bottom, this card ready to receive. You go, the ninjas are about to do their job. Ready? 1, 2, yeah! Just like that. You put down the deck of cards, you pick up the 7 and the 8, and you show them. Now you can show them freely, and you don't have to move them around, because they don't remember which one was which from a moment ago. So now they can study them all they want to. Sometimes they might think that since they didn't see the whole deck of cards, they may want to see the deck of cards. Well, you can let them see the deck of cards. They'll look through it and they'll realize that there are 52 different cards. There's nothing special about the deck, because now there is nothing special about the deck. That's called the ninja card trick. And I hope that you will you'll use that, and that you will enjoy showing your friends how to find the ninja cards in a deck of cards. I've got another card trick for you. This is going to be kind of fun. I'm really excited about this. Now there is a version of this on the magic show that I'll be doing that they'll be posting a recording of the magic show called Once Upon a Wonderful Time. And it's the same kind of idea, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to see these. I'm going to move these up real close so that you can see these cards. What I want you to do, now don't touch the screen, because sometimes if you touch the screen, it pauses video and you don't want to pause the video. So just hold your finger over one of the red cards. Hold your finger over any one of those red cards. What I want you to do is I want you to move. I've forgotten. Let's try this. Okay, any red card. Move left or right till you find the first black card and stop there. Now move up or down till you find the next red card. Up or down till you find a red card. All right, now move diagonally to a black card. Move diagonally to a black card. And now move left or right to any red card. Hold your finger over that red card and tell me if we ended up in the same place. All right, you can make this if you want to, or you can set the cards up this way. I had not planned to do this one today, but so I put it together real quick, and let me show you what you can do. You can take any 6 black cards and any 6 red cards and set them up this way. All right, so you've got 2 black and 2 red. You've got a red and 3 blacks, 2 reds, a black, and a red. If you set your cards up this way and then follow the directions, let's try it again. You'll start with a different card and let's try it again and see what happens. Okay, so place your finger over any red card. Now this will work on video. It'll work if you print it out and hold it in front of somebody, or if you just deal the cards down and give them directions. They'll always end up on this card, whichever one is in this spot. Okay, so hold your finger over any red card. Move left or right until you find a black card and stop on that card. Move up or down till you find a red card. Move diagonally, that means across the corners. Move diagonally till you find a black card. If you've got a black card in both directions, it doesn't matter, pick one of those, doesn't matter which one. Now move left or right to a red card, and you should stop on the 2 of hearts. Here's a really cool thing. You can do this again, but reverse it, and you'll still end up on the two of hearts. Now, I know that my job as a magic teacher is to tell you how this is done. I have no idea, but it works every single time. If people follow your directions carefully, and you give good directions, if they follow your directions carefully, they will always end up on this red card, whether it's on this side or whether it's on this side. And it's just amazing. I saw David Copperfield do this the first time 34, 35 years ago, maybe, on a television special. And I've loved this ever since. So this is a really fun one. You can make it, or you can deal the cards out, get people to follow your directions, and then have a prediction over here, open up the prediction, and that's how it works. All right, very good. You'll see, as I said, you'll see a version of this in the Once Upon a Wonderful Time, only with princesses and dragons instead of playing cards. And oh well, you'll see how that one works. So all right, let's go over some rules of magic. Rule number 1 is never tell the secrets of magic. Now I'm going to do some mind reading right now. I can read your mind. You're thinking, if rule number 1 is never tell the secrets, why are you holding 2 workshops to teach kids in Tuscaloosa how to do magic? Well, there's a difference between teaching and telling. Teaching is what happens when I not only give you the instructions, but I give you all the equipment you need, everything you need to be able to do magic. And here's a really cool thing that happens. When you learn to do magic, you can share magic with other people. For the last 40 years, I've done thousands of shows, and I've brought a lot of laughter and a lot of amazement to a lot of people. But it wouldn't have happened if nobody was willing to teach me the secrets of magic. Here's what happens when you tell the secrets of magic. If you do a card trick for somebody and then you tell them how that trick is done, but you don't really teach them how to do it, you just tell them what happens, then the next time they see that trick, they're not going to feel magic. They're not going to feel amazement. They're not going to have that sense of that you had the first time you saw it, or that they had the first time they saw it. So never tell the secrets. Now, sometimes your friends are going to say, oh, tell me the secret of that. Tell me the secret of that trick. You have to tell them, rule number one is never tell the secret of magic. And I say, come on, tell me. What's the secret? And you say, can you keep a secret? And they'll say, yes. And you say, so can I. And then you show them another trick and amaze them as well. So rule number one, never tell the secret of magic. The next trick we're going to do is with some money. It's a coin trick. And what I've got is I've got a quarter. I've got a quarter right there. And I've got a penny. A quarter and a penny. I'm going to move those real close to the camera so you can see that. 1 quarter, 1 penny. I'm going to close up my fist, turn it over. I'm going to take this hand. I'm going to reach inside. I'm going to take 1 coin, place that coin in my pocket, wave my fingers over the top, snap my fingers, and the penny came back. It's called the comeback coin. And the secret of this is that you need a quarter and you need a penny and you need another penny. Now you can do this with nickels and dimes as long as one of the coins, the pair of coins, is smaller than the other coin, because you're going to hide one of those behind the big coin. If you're using pennies, make sure that both of them are shiny or both of them are dark brown. Make sure they're pretty much the same color, because it'll be really obvious if this was clean and this was dirty. When you reveal that it came back, if it comes back clean or if it comes back dirty, then people will know that that's how it's done. So here's what you do. You take the penny, you put it underneath the quarter, and you lay it on the table. You take the other penny and you put it in front of it. If you were really, really close here, you'd be able to see that this quarter is a little bit higher than this, okay? So you may want to keep them in your pocket. You may want to put them on something soft, or you may just want to keep, just have a handful of coins. And when you get ready to do this trick, just make sure that you pick up the quarter and the extra penny like that, and place that in your hand. Now, when you put it in your hand, you want to cup your hand. You want to bend your hand just a little bit to hold it in place. Because if you don't, if you hold it flat, that quarter might slide off, and that would be embarrassing. Oh, look, the appearing penny. And so you hold it just a little bit. Don't squeeze it too tight, but hold it a little bit so you hold it in place. Take the penny, put it up close to the fingertip, or the bottoms of the fingers where the fingers join the hands. Point out you've got a quarter and a penny, or a nickel and a dime, or a quarter and a dime, or $50, whatever it is you're doing. Okay, I've got a big coin, a small coin. I probably wouldn't say big coin and small coin. You don't want to make that distinction. Just, I've got a quarter, I've got a penny. Close your hand up, show the audience that your hand is empty. Reach in, take out one of the pennies. Show that you took out a penny, and then put the penny in your pocket. I'm so sorry I didn't mute that. I apologize. All right, for the grown-ups watching, that's probably somebody calling about my extended car warranty. All right, so you've taken a penny out, you've put it in your pocket, you turn it over, turn your hand over like this, and say the magic words, wiggle your fingers over the top, abracadabra, hocus pocus, whatever it is, and then kind of shake your hands a little bit to hear something rattle, and then you open your hand up and show that the coin has come back. Not too long ago, I recorded this for somebody, and I made the mistake of saying, and look, the coin's still there. You don't want to say the coin's still there, because even though that's the truth, you want to say the coin has come back. You could do something magical, like reach from your pocket and then toss it into your hand before you open it up. But that is called the comeback coin, quarter and 2 pennies. While we're on the topic of money magic, let's do this. This is fun. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need a dollar bill. In this case, I have a $20 bill. Not because I have lots of money, it's because I haven't been out of the house to spend anything since middle of March. And so I didn't have any small money. So you want a bill, you can borrow this. I like, when I do this trick for other people, I like to borrow a bill, and you'll see why in just a moment. And you're going to need a square or rectangle of colored paper. Now, construction paper works really well. Colored printer paper works really well. White paper works okay, but sometimes it's thin enough where you can see through it. And most of the time, the colored paper is dark enough where people can't see through it. And that might be important as you do this trick. Okay, so you need a pencil, a dollar, and a piece of paper. Let me show you the trick first, and then I'll teach you how to do it. Do not attempt this without the instructions. So you borrow a bill from somebody, and then you, what you will do, let me just do it. If I could borrow this bill for just a moment, I want to tell you something interesting about money. I like to tell stories when I do magic, by the way. And so I tell you something interesting about this money. This money is printed not on paper, but on a special mix of linen and cotton and fibers. And they've even added some little metallic strips in here. And the reason they do that is to make this as durable as possible. They don't want your money wearing out really quickly. I don't know if you've ever had like a baseball card and you've handled it a lot, and after you handle it a little while, you realize it's getting frayed around the edges. Money doesn't do that quite as quickly because of the way it's made. As a matter of fact, they are now making money that is indestructible. Let me show you what I mean. And then you fold the dollar and take it, drop it right there. I'm going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to place this dollar inside the piece of paper like that. And take this pencil and show you what I mean by indestructible. I'm going to show you that the pencil is right there in the middle of the president's face. In just a moment, I'm going to put this right through the dollar bill. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, just like that. All right, so it goes all the way through, just like that. You see it as it goes through, they even tear it just like that off the side. You'll see that when I open it up, that the paper is torn, but the bill is completely whole. Let me show you how this works. This is really cool. What you're going to do is take a piece of typing paper and cut it into 4 pieces. You're going to fold it in half lengthways and fold it in half again, and those will be the lines that you'll use. Okay? You take the piece of paper, fold it in half. You got the dollar bill, fold it in half. And then you're going to place this on the inside of here. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to show them that the pencil is making contact with the dollar. And then you're going to hold on to it right here. And here's what happens. You're going to pull it back like this and put the pencil on the outside of the dollar. This is on the back side from where you are. Okay. But what they've seen is that you're adjusting the pencil a little bit. And what you're doing is you take the dollar out of the, let's see, let's try that. Take it out of the bill and put it right back in there. Move that as little as possible. And then you hold it in place. And then you hold your fingers out like this. And you go 1, 2. Now, if the pencil starts to drop out, it means you're not holding this tight enough. So pull it kind of tight. 1, 2, and then push right through, just like that. They will think that you've just stuck a pencil through their dollar bill. You can just pull it straight through like this, or you can rip it all the way through like that. They'll think that you've actually torn their dollar bill. You take the paper and you show them that there's a jagged tear in the paper. Blow on the dollar, open it up, and show them that the dollar bill is whole. It's called the Indestructible Dollar. Now remember, be really careful and make sure that you back that dollar out of the bill. Show them that it's in there. When you turn it towards you, hold this part down and just adjust it so that you're on the other side of the dollar bill. You can even verify that by opening it up, and then hold it here. 1, 2, just like that. It creates the illusion that you've gone through their dollar bill, and then at the end, the illusion that their dollar bill was never harmed, which is exactly what happened. All right, indestructible dollar. Very cool. All right, what else have we got? Oh, speaking of indestructible, that's something really cool I want to show you here. It's a paper napkin. Now, again, some interesting facts about paper. Paper napkins and paper towels and tissue are made in a way that they have what's called a grain. If I tear this in one direction, it will tear in pretty much a straight line. So if I tear again in this direction, it will tear pretty much in a straight line. If I tear sideways, it's not as likely to tear in a straight line. Okay, so you're going to have to find the grain of paper, and this is called the torn and restored tissue or torn and restored napkin illusion. Okay, what I'll do is I'll put all these together. I'll do what's called bare-handed fuse welding. Bare-handed fuse welding, a tremendous amount of strength. You have to work out quite a bit. I squeeze a tennis ball about 400 times every morning before I get out of the bed, and about 100 times before bedtime every night, just to make sure that I get enough strength in my hand to do bare-handed fuse welding. And here's what happens. It's really cool, because I can now take that piece of paper and restore it into one whole napkin. You probably figured out there's a second piece of paper, and there is. What you do is you start out with one piece of paper already rolled up. So what you want to do is you want to take a napkin, spread it out flat, grab it by the corners, and then sort of run your hand down it like this to make it skinny. You'll fold it in half so that you've got the two ends here together, and then just wad it up from the bottom until you get it where you've got two little ears sticking out. Okay, sort of like that. And then press those in on the side. And other napkin is right over here. So you've got your whole napkin. You set this down, you set this right on top of it. You fold it over and fold it again. You want to unfold it and refold it because you don't want it to look really neat. If it's all folded neat and flat, they're going to notice that it's not laying flat. So you're going to unfold it. When you unfold it this time, you're going to grab the whole napkin that's wadded up. You grab that napkin right here. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can show that your hands are empty, like that. And all I did was I just transferred it over to this hand, but you don't have to do that. And then you tear tissue. Now, if you want to, you can tell them about the grain in the tissue or the paper. Tear it until you get to the very bottom. You can even say this is called the torn and restored newspaper, or torn and restored napkin illusion. It's an illusion because it actually looks like I'm tearing it in half. As a matter of fact, some people tell me that it even sounds like I'm tearing it in half. So torn it that way a couple of times. We're going to tear it again and tear it again. And so now it appears that it has been torn several times. Now, what's going on in your hand is that while you are wadding this paper, you're keeping up with where this is. Okay. All right, so you wad it up in your hand, and then when you finish wadding it, you can show it as one wad of paper. They can't distinguish between the untorn one and all the pieces. So you place it into your fist, and then you say you're going to do some bare-handed fuse welding. You give it a squeeze. You can talk about how much strength you've got. You can talk about magic. You can take a magic wand or a pencil, wave it over there, get people to say the magic words. And then when you open your hand, you're going to turn that so that those little ears that we showed you first are at the front. And you're going to take those and start opening it up Whoops, got it backwards. I'm sorry. Take that and start opening it up. And as you open it up, you show them that the napkin has been completely restored. And you can hold your fingers like this, show your hands are empty. And then once you're done, you wad up both napkins, put them in your case, put them in your pocket, and do away with it. Okay? So it's called a torn and restored napkin. Now it's time to look at rule number 2. Don't repeat a trick. There are a couple of tricks that you can do over and over and over, and people will never figure it out. But if you do most tricks more than once, what will happen? Well, 2 things will happen. Either they will figure it out because, for instance, like this one, they will always end up in the same place. And if they end up in the same place the second time, they'll say, oh, well, that works because you always end up in the same place. A lot of math tricks are like that. You know, they appear to have a lot of random choices, but what happens is that you always end up with the same answer. And so one reason you don't want to repeat a trick is because people can often figure out how the trick is done. The second thing is, if you do a trick the second time, they know how it ends, and so they're not worried about the ending. They're watching every move that you make to try to figure it out, and then they don't enjoy it as much. Going back to David Copperfield, the first time I saw him live, I was in graduate school, and I was in Louisville, and we went to see him perform at this beautiful theater, and I went with several other magicians. And I realized when we had intermission that I had paid a lot of money to go see the world's most famous magician at the time, David Copperfield, perform, and that I had spent the whole first half of the show trying to figure it out, because I knew enough secrets of magic to where I could start trying to figure things out. And I spent the whole time trying to figure it out instead of enjoying it. And I told one of my friends when we had intermission, that's when they let you get up and get snacks and stuff. I told one of my friends, I said, I haven't enjoyed the show because I've been trying to figure everything out. He said, don't worry about how it's done. Just enjoy the magic show. And the second half of the show, I really enjoyed it. Don't let your friends become who I was at the beginning of the show, where they don't enjoy the magic because they're watching what you do so closely that they can't really enjoy the magic. All right, here we go. We got another one. This one is done with a rubber band. I want you to go ahead and cut the rubber band. Two of the things that were in the list there's a rubber band, a pair of scissors. So go ahead and cut the rubber band so that you've got a long elastic string. Okay, and you're going to need a paper clip. Now, if you don't have a paper clip, you can borrow somebody's ring. Okay, it just doesn't need to be too heavy, and it doesn't need to be too small. All right, you're going to thread the paper clip onto the rubber band, and you can see quite easily that gravity works very well. If you tilt it down, that the rubber band is going to slide down toward the bottom. But here's something kind of amazing. If you use a little bit of magic, instead of sliding downhill, it's going to start sliding uphill. Pretty cool. Now you can make that as amazing as you want. You can stare at it. And then when you're ready, of course, it will go right back downhill. Here's how this trick is done. You take the rubber band and you take the paper clip. When you put the paper clip on the rubber band to show that it goes downhill, you're going to want to hold the paper clip in this hand. And then when you grab the rubber band, don't grab it at the end. Grab it about halfway and then hide that part in your hand. Go ahead and stretch it out as far as it'll stretch. And then the paper clip will travel downhill. When you want it to travel uphill, what you're going to do is you're going to release a little bit of pressure on the rubber band. Keep both hands exactly where they are. and release a little bit of pressure on the rubber band. And what will happen is, as you do that, it will appear the paper clip is going uphill. It's actually staying in the same place on the rubber band, and the friction of the rubber in the rubber band is what's keeping it in place as the rubber band stretches out, or actually starts to, whatever the opposite of stretching out is. And so, and then once you get to the end, stop right there, and then you can show that it moves quite freely back and forth, just like that. Paper clip and rubber band. Show you one more time. Take the paper clip, run it all the way to the other end, hold it right there, and then when you grab the rubber band, grab it about halfway and hide this part in your hand. Stretch it out as far as it'll go. Let people see it going both ways like this, and then when it gets down to these fingers, say I'm going to defy gravity. I'm going to move this uphill using the power of my mind. And as you concentrate, just relieve a little bit of pressure. Don't relieve a lot of pressure. It'll shoot all the way to the other hand. But keep going. You'll get to the place where you can start to feel the end of it. Got a little bit farther to go. And then you stop right there and you've moved it. I've got a friend who does this, and when he does it, he acts exhausted at the end of it. Like it took a lot of his brain power, a lot of his thought power to make that work. You can do that any way you want. You can even borrow a rubber band and break it. It will hurt when it snaps onto your fingers. Break it or cut it, and then borrow a ring from somebody so that people won't think that there's something special or magnetic or any of those. People guess a lot of different things for how magic tricks are done. Okay, so work the same way with a ring. Travels uphill. And that is the climbing paper clip, the climbing ring trick. And got one more for you. Got one more. We got just about enough time to do this one. It's called the jumping ponytail holder. Now, these look like ponytail holders. That's what people would call them normally, but these are not ponytail holders. I don't have a ponytail, and as far as I know, these have never held ponytails. So I put this rubber band, this ponytail holder, on these two fingers: pointer finger, middle finger, not ring finger, and pinky finger. I show you that is all that's going on. Now, all I have to do, if I want this to move from these two fingers to these two fingers, I just wave the magic wand over the top and point, and they jump right to the other hand. But when I'm going to move back, all I have to do is close my fist, wave it over the top, just like that, and it jumps back to those two fingers. Okay? Here's how this trick works. And you're going to need two of these, and I'll show you why you need two. If you've got two that are the same color, you can practice with them, but it's not going to be quite as effective when I show you the second part of this trick. So you put that on these two fingers. Got your thumb here, pointer and middle finger, and then the ring and pinky finger here. Okay. Now, if you can do this, that's nice. Some people can't do this. This is it's a genetic thing, like being able to roll your tongue or something like that. But you want to put it on these two fingers. Show the audience the palm of your hand and show them the back of your hand. When you show them the back of your hand, here's what you're going to do. This is what we magicians call the secret move. You want to pull it down like this. You want to make a fist like this and put all four fingers inside the loop. All right. Now, you want to get a ponytail holder that's nice and loose, because if it's too tight, it's going to start scrunching your fingers up, and this finger is going to come out, or this finger is going to come out, and you don't want that to happen. So you want a nice, soft, kind of loose ponytail holder, or a rubber band would work. Don't get one that's too big or too loose. All right, it still looks the same to the audience, but on your side, the side that you can see, it looks like this. And then watch what happens. Don't do anything yet. Just watch what happens when I open all four fingers together. Sometimes people want to open them separately, or they want to spread their fingers out. What you want to do is you want to open them like this, like you're saying bye-bye, okay, like this. But you want to open them together, all together at the same time. And here's what happens when you open those together. It jumps over to the other two fingers. Now, I've learned a way, and if you practice, you can do this where you can do it one-handed to go back. You don't even have to get this hand close. And what you do is you put your thumb inside and you pull it across and put all 4 fingers inside again to make it jump back to there. All right, you're probably going to want to rewind and do this a few times. Some people get it right away. Some people, it takes a few times to practice. It can be a little frustrating, but just remember this. If it was easy, everybody would be a magician. Okay, so put it on these 2 fingers, show the audience the palm of your hand, show them the back of your hand, pull it down like this, put it across all 4 fingernails. If you've got 3 or 4 people who are watching with you and somebody gets it, get them to help you get it because they'll be able to help you. And then you're going to open those fingers all together and it's going to pop over to the other 2 fingers. Now, here's why I got you to get 2 of them. Because if you do this with 2 of them, you can get them to switch places. And you're just doing the same thing, the exact same thing with both of them. You're wrapping them around your fingers on this side. They still look the same here. Yellow over here, purple over here. Snap your fingers and they switch places. One more thing you can do with this. If you've got a rubber band or a different kind of ponytail holder, you've got it around here, and now you're going to make it impossible, absolutely impossible to get the ponytail holder off because it won't come off these fingers. It certainly won't go on these 2 fingers. But watch what happens. Ready? 1, 2, just like that, and it did it. And the reason it did it was because all it had to do was go over from one side to the other, like that. From this side to this side. All right. This is probably the trick of all the ones I taught you today that's going to require the most practice, and you're going to need to make sure you do it several times in a row correctly before you show it to anybody. As a matter of fact, that brings me to to rule number 3, and we'll close with that. Rule number 3 is practice, practice, practice. If you want to be good at magic, if you want to be good at reading, if you want to be good at math, if you want to be good at playing the piano, if you want to be good at baseball, man, I miss baseball. If you want to be good at anything, you've got to practice, practice, practice. As a matter of fact, when I do my magic camps, I do week-long magic camps in the summer when I'm not doing library shows. And when I do my week-long magic camps, one of the things I always tell kids is there are 5 important things you need to know if you want to be successful. If you want to be good at anything, you need to know these 5 words. And all 5 words begin with the letter P. The first word is, say it with me, practice. The second word, practice. The third word, practice. The fourth word, practice. The fifth word is not practice. It's persevere. Persevere. That means don't give up. That means don't give up. Okay. So let's go over what we've learned today. We've learned ninja cards. We've learned how to get a 7 and 8 from the middle of the deck into the other hand. We've learned how to read somebody's mind and predict what they will choose. Okay. You can do this. So you set this up. Let's see. We have learned how to make a penny go from one hand, from your pocket back into your hand. We have learned how to put a pencil through a dollar without harming it. We have learned how to tear up and restore a paper napkin. We've learned how to defy gravity with a paper clip and a rubber band. And we've learned how to get a ponytail holder to jump from these 2 fingers over to these 2 fingers. Tomorrow, we're going to learn 7 new magic tricks that are completely different from that. And I'll show you some of my favorites. And I want to close with a story because I'm a storyteller. I've got a neighbor, his name is Jack, and Jack works out in his yard all the time because, well, he's retired, and evidently being retired is pretty cool because every time I see him, he says, man, being retired is pretty cool. Well, I go over and help him every chance I get because I'm a good neighbor, and he's an old guy, and I like to help people, and I'm a magician. It's not like I got a real job. I saw him out there the other morning. He was spreading pine straw around the bottom of his flowers and shrubs to protect them against the hot weather that's coming. And so I went over to help him. And when we finished, he reached into his pocket. He said, young fella, let me give you a little ice cream money for your trouble. I said, Jack, you don't have to do that. He said, no, let me help you out. He counted out 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. Then just to be sure, he counted it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. That'll buy you a little ice cream, won't it? I said, yeah, Jack, that'll buy some ice cream. He said, you know the fastest way to double your money? Now, he tells this joke every time. It's not very funny, but I laugh because I'm a good neighbor, and I tell bad jokes myself. He said, you know the fastest way to double your money? I said, how's that, Jack? He said, you just fold it in half. You double your money. You double, it's not that good of a joke. I said, Jack, there's another way to double your money. Most people don't know it, but right here on the back of the $1 bill is the pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is called the magic eye. Do you see that? He said, yeah. I said, well, can you touch the magic eye? And so he reached over and touched the magic eye, and when he touched the magic eye, the money really did double, and now instead of $1 bills, he had $2 bills. $2 bills. Let's count them. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, $10. He said, that's amazing. He said, can we do it again? I said, what do you mean? He said, we went from 5 to 10. He said, can we go 10 to 20? I said, Jack, you could if there was a magic eye on the back of a $2 bill, but there's no magic eye on the back of a $2 bill. The only place you're going to find the magic eye is on the back of the $1 bill. And when you get back to the $1 bill, you're right back where you started with 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. And the moral of that story, young people, is to quit while you're ahead. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I've had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you tomorrow while we learn some brand new magic tricks. Take a look at the list of supplies that's posted on the Facebook page for the Tuscaloosa Public Library. Gather the rest of those supplies. One other thing that I've added is you're going to need a brown paper sack, a Ziploc bag, Scotch tape is already on the list, and scissors are already on the list. And you'll need some different colored tissue paper from your the birthday box or the Christmas wrapping box. You'll need well, we'll worry about that tomorrow. I'll show you how to do that. But you'll need some different colored paper, and tissue paper is really good to use for this. So you'll need that in addition to the other stuff that's on the list. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks so much.